I really don't like doing intros, so I'm going to try and make this short and sweet. But my name's Haley Morris. I'm 24 years old. I'm an independent artist. I make stuff like this. Lots of digital stuff in there. I consider myself primarily a digital artist, so this gigantic video doesn't even account for half of the drawings that I've done. But if you guys would like to see a digital art throughout the years video, let me know. That might be something I'd be interested in making in the future. But for this video, we're going to focus just on sketches. So, and you'll notice once we get to that 15 age where I started drawing digitally, that the sketches get a lot messier because I was doing all of my finished works on my tablet. But to start off, we'll go through this giant binder, which I still include in my sketchbook collection because I still consider it a sketchbook. I just refused to draw on anything but printer paper when I was 13, so yeah, let's just get into it. Alright, I apologize in advance. I might go through this one a little fast because there's a lot of drawings in here. This post-it note is from my sister. I liked this one so much I laminated it. And I tried to get the lighting so that we can avoid most of the glare here, since they're all in these plastic sheets. I was super into Percy Jackson. I was reading. I read those books in like elementary and junior high, and I was in love with them, so I wanted to draw all my favorite characters. And that's kind of what got me into art at first. So, and I was following Mark Crilly tutorials, so you can see a lot of the style influence there. This one also kind of looks like his influence. And I was also very inspired by Burdge. She was drawing a lot of Percy Jackson stuff at the time. That's how I found her. There's a lot of really kind of embarrassing stuff in here, but I think when you're starting out drawing, and especially like as a teenager, it's just natural to make a lot of stuff that you're not necessarily fond of when you're an adult. I drew this race car for my dad because he really liked NASCAR. I believe it was for his birthday. Characters of mine. This was supposed to be me. Characters of mine. I think this was Taylor Swift. So, and these were all done in graphite and colored pencil. Ignore the twilight, please. Dear God. Debbie Ryan. I was also really into Hannah Montana. Here's my colored series. These are kind of fun. I like working with themes. I should do more like themed stuff. This one was heavily inspired by Burdge. Once again, ignore the twilight. Dear God. Also, this outfit mashup is kind of hilarious to me. It's like got that what scene emo type vibe to it. Also, I think this is a character from Bakugan, maybe. I kind of got into some anime at this age. This was from an anime called Lovely Complex, I think. It's been a long time, so I don't remember them very well, but this is a character, a Friends character. And then this is just hilarious. I love it when beginner artists do tutorials. It's like, oh man, that confidence is just hilarious. Also, I loved this piece when I originally made it. I was so proud of it. Or random characters that I made. I find it kind of interesting how I liked mixing a lot of darker type stuff with this really cutesy random stuff. It was all happening in my sketches. Guess this isn't really a sketchbook. I was so proud of this pose. I was so proud of this pose. Even though I didn't even draw the feet. And then I love the very like crudely simplified hands because I just any chance I could get to hide a hand or hide the eyes when I screwed up. So funny, hiding hands once again. Mitt hands. These are some little comics. Drawing all the Percy Jackson crew here. My best friend. I think it was inspired by Scott Pilgrim? Am I wrong? I don't remember. Someone paid me like 50 to 100 points on DeviantArt for that drawing, and I was like, money for art? And it wasn't even real money, but I think that was the first time I ever got quote-unquote paid for my art. This one I covered up just because it's a little much. It's a little bit, not really disturbing, but yeah, a little bit. Okay, this is the Percy Jackson crew again. I was really, really proud of this one because of the one that I did. Okay, so this one is from January, like the end of January 2011, and then this one I did in the beginning of March 2011, and I was so proud of my progress. I did improve a lot in this year, and that's a lot of drawings, so pretty proud of young me. This next binder I started filling up right after I finished the white one, and this was around the time that I got into digital, so there'll be a few digital drawings in here. I think this was one of the first pieces with backgrounds that I did. Because usually I stuck to just the plain characters. And then this was the first city I ever did, which is kind of funny looking back on since I've done so much cityscape stuff now. This was my icon on DeviantArt for the longest time because I was so proud of this piece. It was supposed to be a self-portrait. More Percy Jackson stuff. This is Apollo and Artemis, and then I think this one is supposed to be Ginny. Another one that I was super proud of at the time because it was beyond my skill level. And I was so thrilled with how it turned out. This one, not so much. Having a lot of fun with color. I felt very limited by traditional colors at the time because I was just using colored pencil. So when I got into digital, I was having so much fun. After this, honestly, I did not do a lot of traditional stuff after this because I got my tablet and I just kind of went full steam ahead. Alright, so these 6 sketchbooks are part of what I call the ugly years, which is where I was doing all of my finished pieces digitally. And so these sketchbooks were just used for doodles and studies, basically. So all of the stuff in here looks like way worse than the digital equivalent of what I was doing at the time. And they're also very boring, so I'm going to be flipping through them quite fast. There's some anatomy studies. I was really bad at filling all the pages in this one, so I'll go back and fill them in later. You can see that I was not confident with my traditional sketching skills, especially from imagination. I was so used to drawing digitally and being able to constantly change things that when I would sketch traditionally and, not be changing things every 5 seconds, then my drawings they did not look good. And we've got this guy. I believe this one was probably 2013, maybe even 2012. Photo studies. can see the drastic difference between stuff I did with reference and stuff without. I think I've always been pretty good at working from reference, and then like really struggled doing stuff from my imagination. This one I'm just gonna flip quickly through because like it's basically the same stuff. There is stuff on the flip side too, but it's basically the same type of thing, so I'm just not gonna bother. These are studies of an artist that I really loved. Some anatomy. Okay, so these ones I would take around like artist reference that I liked, and I would just print it out and study it while I was at school. So this is another sketchbook I'm gonna have to flip quickly through because it is also boring as hell. Some fashion poses. At this point, it was good figure drawing reference. Also, I'm sorry about like the gray speck in the corner. My camera has dust inside the lens and I cannot clean it without drilling a hole in my camera, so. These are kind of interesting. Different way of breaking down the skeleton of the figure. These are croco beans. I was studying lots of figure drawing at this time. My brother drew this. Photo study. Oops. Once again, I will be going through and filling these pages later. This was a few months after that one. More character stuff. Studying an artist. Trying to like dissect the proportions of faces in profile. Oops. I feel like once you've seen one page in the sketchbook, you've kind of seen them all. So I'm just gonna fan through these. They're really not very notable because a lot of it is just from reference. Like even this is artist reference. So, and then the stuff from my imagination is just boring portraits. So, I mean, I guess these are full body, but okay. Alright, next one. This one is freshman year of college, I believe. This is a study of an artist that I really loved at the time. So here you can see I went in and did like a redraw because I was so like baffled at how ugly my faces were. So 2016, so I guess this was maybe junior year of college. That's like surprisingly late. Okay, so I was a little bit older than I thought. And then I went in 2018 and redrew the faces. Same with this one, 2016 versus 2018. I did a lot more traditional stuff in 2017, so I improved a lot. This is the David from my time in Italy. I went on study abroad. Hand studies. I think this was learning from Loomis. I still really like these, like the gesture in them. I'd like to start using kind of the same method to get the perspective right. And I like these figures too. Oh, this one is from 2017, when I had started my Instagram and I was doing like finished traditional pieces again, so hence the huge jump in quality. I was practicing a lot and I was taking a lot more time on stuff like this. I was really happy with how she turned out. And then I have this little eyeball flower back here. I was very inspired by Audra Auclair at this point. Still am, honestly. Trying to draw figures from above. More gestures. Here's some imagination. This was studying Tron. I just really liked the shape of that arm. These are Feral Kid Studies. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'll insert it here and you can go check him out. His work is just insane. I don't remember who the artist is here, but this is another artist study. I still love this pose reference. I've drawn her like multiple times over the years. Another artist study. This is Loish, a Loish study. And then these are studies from a comic that I really liked at that time. Now we're getting into the college age sketchbooks, or at least most of them. Starting off with my anatomy sketchbook. In this class we had a lot of different kind of assignments that we had to do in our sketchbook, and we had a few interesting ones in there. These are ways to simplify the skeleton, and I'm just gonna like scan through these pages because they get pretty repetitive. But one of the most cool things about this sketchbook is the head drawings with these skulls on top, and you can see where my teacher like did corrections for me in blue. I think I learned a lot doing these. So I'll just show a few of them. This one's kind of cool because the jaw is open. And we did the same thing but with muscles, which was less fun, much less fun, but still useful, question mark. Honestly, I've never really done much with like muscle knowledge for the face. Like for the rest of the body, I think it's like super, super helpful, but I just haven't really felt like it's helped me that much with my faces in particular. Alright, then we did the same thing but with this very simplified skeleton where you're just marking kind of the rib cage and the pelvis. This is kind of a cool one. Alright. Then we did these figure drawings where you use a lot of ellipses and like curved lines to describe the forms and what direction they're going, and I really struggled with this. And you can tell that I didn't really know what happens here in the back, and then these aren't pointing forward enough. But they were great practice. I would highly, highly recommend these because they really get you thinking in terms of 3D form. Alright, drawing some muscles over top, some little hand bone indications. Not like finished bone drawings or anything, but alright, that's enough of a glimpse into this one. So the next sketchbook is my Imagination and Visual Literacy sketchbook. And this class was probably my favorite class that I took in college because I still remember a few of the things that was taught in that class. It was taught by Will Terry, and he did a really great job of describing some concepts that I hadn't heard before. So this sketchbook is mostly just from imagination, so by nature it's going to be more interesting than my other college sketchbooks, I think. Here I'm trying to experiment with stylization and getting more like strong shape design. Once again, really trying to push like shape design, because I mean, as you've seen from my other sketchbooks, I just did not draw stuff like this. My stuff tended to look very samey. And here we get to the car section, where we were supposed to like mix different elements of different cars together to make something new. Or you can just like do them from your imagination, but I don't know cars well enough to do that. And I don't like drawing cars. But I still think these actually turned out okay, like surprisingly okay. I think I hated them at the time, but looking back on them, I think they're kind of cool. This just looks like from normal reference, so I don't know what's going on there. Alright, then we're learning some like shape language type stuff, simplifying shapes, practicing drawing ellipses in perspective. Then we've got my little otter guy, faces at different angles. It's kind of a cute stylization. A mermaid drawing. That's a random one. Okay. As you can see, animals were not my strong suit, to say the least. Oh man. Yeah, I think that these were all from imagination, hence why they look so terrifying. Oh my word. What is that? Wow, some gold in this sketchbook. Okay, and then you can tell that this is from reference because it doesn't look like this. This one's still pretty cool. I kind of still like this. I love his face. Oh man. Okay, some deer. That face is good too. What the heck? How did I miss that? Okay. Some shape design, heads. Here we get to the boring stuff, because this is the expressions section, which just ends up looking like all my other sketchbooks, because they're just pretty, like, boring portraits. Then we have our animals section, which is where we were supposed to mix 2 or more animals. Oh wow. Yeah, once again, animals are not my strong suit. Okay. That's a kind of a nice gesture. I don't like the style, but I at least was experimenting and playing around with shape. A crocodile dog, I think. Maybe dinosaur chicken. Okay. Pig horse. Okay, now we're getting into robots. This section was surprisingly fun because a lot of what I did for this section was just using like figure drawing reference and trying to turn it into a robot. And I feel like it's easier to like play around with shape with the very like mechanical robot theme. More figure drawing reference. Yeah, I can like visualize the poses that I used for some of these. This one's my favorite, but it was definitely inspired by some robots that I found online. But I love the shape of these legs. Wow. Don't know what this section was. Maybe shape design? That's definitely not shape design. This was like my normal style. Normal style. This is my cat. I drew him laying, his little paw covering his face. He sleeps like that a lot. I was a big fan of Undertale at the time. More Undertale, and my little sister. Alright, pretty sparse pages at the end here. More paper for me to use in the future. This is my head rendering sketchbook, and I'm only gonna kind of skip around in the pages in this one because once you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. So for this class we had to work from mostly like real life reference, not photo reference. So it's mostly just members of my family. See that these were all my sister. And then we could do like a free page every once in a while where we could like study another artist or do it from your head. This is a self-portrait. More self-portrait. That one is terrifying. Okay. My fingers get very dirty going through these pages. More my sister. This was a photo reference one. Me. Some head muscles. This was an artist study. This is a Malcolm Lipke study, and it's probably my favorite because it's by another artist. Oh wow, my fingers are already so dirty. And the rest of the sketchbook is like artist studies and personal work. So like this is from imagination, and then the rest are artist studies. This is the only imagination one. Alright, this page, I went on Sketchfab, which is like a 3D model website, and you can take models that you like and pose them however you want. So I was trying to learn this specific, how to draw this specific head angle. So I just grabbed a bunch of models that I liked and then posed them and drew them from there. Then we have some recent stuff in here, like this was a couple little like doodle ideas. Okay, you can see here I'm trying to like break down the figure in geometry to get it more accurate. I also experimented a lot with faces because I was really struggling with my style. This is an artist study, by the way. But this one is a face that I ended up being really happy with. Okay. These are more like trying to figure out my face style. These are like Rude Beetle, but I wanted to incorporate elements of that style into the way I do faces. Figures, lots and lots of figures. This is why my sketchbooks aren't very exciting. Here's some imagination stuff. Sketches where I don't really know what I'm doing. Those are very recent though. And then most of these are artist studies because once again I was trying to get my faces the way I wanted them. And then these four are from imagination. Trying to kind of like take the different things that I liked from different styles and combine them. Okay. More imagination stuff. I really like the way that her figure turned out. I am really drawn to these like very long, thin types of shapes, especially for like the human form. And then I love these greyhounds. This one was definitely helped with reference. And then this one is what's it called? The King, the K-drama on Netflix. Okay, this was studying other artists' legs. This was a sketch for a little drawing that I did. And then little doodle. And okay, one last page in the sketchbook. This is from just like 2 days ago. So this is like very recent. I was working with a pencil that does not have an eraser, so I was kind of using it as if it were a pen, which I think I like. I think I want to do some more of that because it forces you to just be okay with it looking like crap. Like it forces you to just recognize that you're going to make a ton of mistakes and that you're just getting ideas down on paper, which is great for perfectionists like me. All right, that's it for this one. This one is a figure drawing sketchbook that I went in and put my Ghibli stickers on later. This is another one that I'm just gonna kind of show you snippets of because it's mostly just artist studies like this one. Yeah, more artist studies, links in the description as always. It's not from imagination, so I just don't feel like it's very interesting. This is definitely my favorite page in the entire sketchbook, because these two artists are just like equally phenomenal in their own ways. Like I love Mucha's shape design and line confidence and detail. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then this like Gil Elvren, is that how you pronounce it? The way that he shades his faces and his figures is so gorgeous, and you can see there's a lot of like strong shape involved in his shading. I need to go back and study more of him because I could definitely learn a lot. Okay, Mignola. Then we tried some like straight line figures, which were very helpful. Getting more confidence in the lines that you do. Artist studies. I don't remember who the artist is though. Here's some stuff from imagination. This stuff I posted on my Instagram back in the day. At least mostly. This one I think I had reference for, but and you can see that I'm working on my line quality. So in a lot of my other sketchbooks, the lines have been like very meh. And you can see that I'm trying to experiment with like the thicker and thinner lines. I still really like this one. Those are so fun. Yeah, that's like it for this sketchbook. Now we're getting into the more fun stuff. So this sketchbook is mostly from imagination, aside from like all the figure stuff that's always in all of my sketchbooks. That's post from reference. These are older. This is like freshman year of college. He's designing stuff for my 2D design class. Some anatomy stuff for class. All of the different points on the body, important landmarks. Those proportions are very off. Oh, trying to figure out the shoulder area. I need to do more of this. I struggle so much with shoulders. Like shoulders and neck. They're really hard for me. Breaking down the legs. Alright, arms, hands. These are thumbnails for a painting idea that I had, and I actually did end up finishing it, and this is what the final piece looks like. Alright, these are artist studies aside from these two. Here we get into where I was starting Instagram. So my sketches are more elaborate, more finished. Not these. These I believe I posted. I posted these two at the time. Can you believe what I got away with posting? Nowadays I could never. Brush pen, which is incredibly hard for me. I should try again, but the thick line really intimidates me. These were also brush pen though, which I did better. I used photo reference for all of them. That's a little... I remember back in the day when it only would take me like a few hours and I would have something to post. Those days were amazing. Another one that I posted. Trying to figure out my logo. I tried that post-it note thing, but I'm not sure I had even messed up anything. I think I just wanted to try it because I thought it looked cool. Like, I see so many sketchbooks that are almost like collages, and mine have never been that way. I never put things into my sketchbook, ever. Oh, we're getting into more anatomy stuff. Oh, okay, I was a little frustrated that day. Okay, experimenting with shape design again. Okay, my camera interrupted me. But this is one where you just kind of like scribble with ballpoint pen. So there's no like really hard lines there, but... Okay, then this is where we get into a mix of current and past stuff. So this is like past artist studies. This is an artist study, and then these are recent from imagination. And I kind of like, I like the way that she's stylized a lot. And then this is another recent sketch. Okay, then we're back to old. So like I said, I plan on finishing all my old sketchbooks that I never completely filled, which is why this one has a mix of old and new. So this is old. I was just trying to like fill the page as much as possible. I was really inspired by James Jean. His drawings, like super detailed drawings. So that was the vibe that I was trying to go for. These are new, so once again trying to figure out how I want to stylize my faces. And I had a lot of ones that I liked on this page. This one is a little bit closer to the way I'd like to do my faces. And then just a little fun figure. These are older pages, some lesbians. This is a Kim Jung-gi study, and then I think the rest of these, yeah, the rest of these are from imagination. You can see I'm just like trying to nail down a style. They're a little rougher than the other ones though. These are from imagination. They were really fun to do and very recent, just like the other face studies. I need to experiment with more different body types, but I also really like the way that her knees look. I've been studying a lot of other artists, the way they do legs, and I've noticed that I always am drawn to the ones that include these little shapes for the knees. Okay, that's a very rough sketch, which is unfortunately recent, even though it looks like something I would do years ago. Now we have the most fun one of the bunch, because this is basically like all from the time that I started Instagram, and I got super, super inspired by people who were making a living doing art independently. And so I was working really hard trying to make content for Instagram and grow a following. So this is an experiment in acrylic, and then this was a little experiment in watercolor. I can't see it very well in this lighting, but okay, little gouache study, and then some color studies for a sketch that I never ended up finishing. Still kind of like it. You can see that it has little hints of even what I do now with like the masks and the little creatures with those bodies that I love, just like in the greyhounds. This one was in jelly roll pens, and I really didn't like it the way that it turned out, but when I posted it, other people did, so I was very conflicted. Watercolor and ballpoint pen. I really liked this one, but it's really interesting just how much my face style has changed. Okay, more watercolor experimentation. I like the natural texture that was added to the cheeks. Watercolor. This is watercolor and ballpoint pen. This one is interesting because this one ended up getting being like one of my most liked pieces when I posted it on Instagram, but I hated it. And honestly, I still hate it. I think the reason that I hate it is because of the subject matter. Like, it's just too for Instagram, if that makes sense. I still really am not a fan. This is another pen and watercolor with a little bit of white jelly roll. Alright, then we've got some brush pen and gouache. Then this one's graphite. I was experimenting with shape again. My faces look so much different these days. And then this was Copics and ballpoint pen and graphite. I was trying to figure out shading, like hard shapes versus these softer areas, and then core shadows. This one's done in gouache, like the really, really cheap gouache. Around it is all gouache, and then these are done in ballpoint pen. Same on this one. It's just watered down gouache. Back in the day, I was posting like every 3 days, I think, and also doing college stuff at the same time. These I was playing around with watercolor texture and salt, I think. This one, I still like the watercolor texture of it. This is ballpoint pen, like a blue ballpoint pen with watercolor over top. And it makes the ballpoint pen bleed just the tiniest bit, which kind of helps with this natural shading. I kind of like it. Same with this one. Except this looks like wash. This one I redid recently. You may have seen it on my Instagram. Turned out like this. I like the new version a lot. But I also really liked this version at the time. And I still like it, honestly. I like the colors. The warms versus cools here. This was red ballpoint pen. This is like my New Year's drawing. So this is, I think this is January of 2018. And that is it for this sketchbook. This is a smaller sketchbook. This one I think comes right after that other one. Lots of finished stuff in here. So if it's finished, it was definitely for posting on Instagram. I like the texture in this one a lot still. These are watercolor and ballpoint pen, of course. Little watercolor experiment. This one, a lot of the stuff here is like falling out, or I had tore it out previously to work on. The watercolor texture in this is really nice. Some bubblegum themed drawings. This is graphite and watercolor with a little bit of pink jelly roll pen. Experimenting with some blue pencils. And then these are all studies. This is Kelsey Beckett. And then some random ones. Alright, random crap. These were done with some little cute pens that I bought off of eBay years ago. And then this one was incorporating a drawing of Claybie Charms, little dessert turtles that I just was in love with. And this is still a cute one. I like the way that I did the water in the background. I think that was inspired by this artist, if I remember correctly. This one is just a random drawing with some little sheep. These are some photo studies. Some skulls I did while I was at my grandma's house. Little plant lady. And then this, I was like trying to plan out my display for a convention. And then there's this little fun doodle page. You just do a bunch of like scribbles in between these little doodles. Very relaxing. Highly recommend. Alright, that's it for that one. Now we're getting into the last one, I think. I've torn out a lot of pages from my previous sketchbooks because I was using a lot of them for my Inktober drawings. So there are a lot of pages missing for that reason. And I don't know why I have these post-it notes here, but I think these were done in micron pens. Yeah, all of these. It's not brush pen, and it's not ballpoint. Trying to figure out how I can use line as like a core shadow in shading. These are studies of another artist that I will have listed. Experimenting with watercolor over pencil. I used watercolor for the lines instead of pen or anything. And then this one is more recent. I was trying to get my faces down. Alright, learning from an artist who does these like gorgeous folds in like the clothing. Just amazing. And then this one's from Imagination. Okay, these were some pin ideas that I never ended up doing. I think I kind of like second guessed myself on the pin train. I didn't really want to make an investment if it might not pan out. Okay, experimenting with style again. I still like how she looks. These were planning out little pieces that I did for a gallery, but that didn't end up looking anything like that. This, I was trying to get an idea for my mask piece, which ended up looking like this. Totally different from the thumbnails, but I like how it turned out. More of me trying to get my faces down, and then trying to figure out incorporating shape into my plant design, like making different types of lines and trying to make them into flowers. It's a good exercise, I think. Okay, photo study, artist study, experimentation, my own experimentation. Playing around with shape and different ways of stylizing these little cats. This is a artist study, this one. This is another Kludwig study. Another artist study. These are from imagination. Lots of artist studies in here. Yeah, these are all artist studies. Same with this, and then, you know, a couple things from imagination. Imagination, artist study, ideas for paintings. This is all imagination. Okay, so I was really bad at like drawing figures straight on, so I did this one from my imagination first, and then I did a bunch of standing poses, and then I went back and did another one from imagination so that I could see if I improved, and I did. So that was kind of a fun one to work on. Okay, this is artist studies again. All artist studies except this is a photo study. More artist studies and then photo studies. Artist studies. Yep, artist studies, imagination, photo. All artist studies, photo studies, artists. I think these are mostly from imagination after studying from this artist that I like. All imagination, all imagination. You can tell that this page was meant to be posted because of the level of finish. I still really love this page. I love the like the line used to indicate these shadow shapes on the legs, and then the shapes. Like, I love strong shape design, and I want to incorporate it more into my work. So I really did a lot of accomplished a lot of my goals in this sketchbook page. But they can't really be called sketches. I mean, they're finished drawings, basically. These are artist studies, and then these are imagination. This is a Friends character. More artist studies. This one's from imagination. I was so happy with the way that her face turned out because it's like just how it suits my taste so much and how I want to do faces. So I was quite happy with that. Alright, this is another feral kid study. I love the way that he has so much detail and love in the wood and like the texture. It's just, it's gorgeous. Alright, more artist studies. This one's from imagination. These two are from imagination. Once again, trying to get the facial features how I want them. I still like them. Alright, this one is the idea for this piece of mine. This is also like the sketch for a finished one. And some little thumbnail ideas I never did anything with. This is an artist study and this is from imagination. This one I was trying to do like meditative drawing where you just draw a bunch of random shapes and crap as a way to like warm up and just not think about what you're doing, not overthink it, and just yeah, try and work with shape and line and everything. These are James Jean studies. This is from imagination, my own experimentation, and these are artist studies. I'll turn the page around so you can see her. Don't know why I insist on making things face different directions, but this was one of the drawings that ended up being part of my tissue paper design that I used to wrap my shop orders in. This was an idea that I tried to do and failed at. Like, I hated the way that I painted the leaves. I was so unhappy with it. I just kind of left it there. Photo studies. This was a sketch idea. This is an artist study. This is a character from It's Okay Not to Be Okay. These are from imagination. This one had photo reference as inspiration though. Alright, this is kind of another one of those meditative drawings where you just kind of draw and just let whatever happens happen and try to make some interesting shapes. Yep, all artist studies. That is it for my most recently finished sketchbook. A lot of rough stuff in here. Oh. Myth of a video. He's using his little cat stairs. I've got some of my mailers in those boxes. I'm a very professional, organized artist.